Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video we're going to review round 1 of the 2024-25 NBL SuperCoach season. So I guess an okay week to start with. We scored 235, which has ranked us in the top 16%, so 2,800 out of the 17,000 that have signed up already. So we'll have a look at the team. We'll have a bit of a look around the league and I guess just the game in general, see who scored well. As I've got an itchy nose there. But starting with our forwards, and so I guess some good results with our bench, but unfortunately we only scored half of their points. So Groves with 25 and White with 19. A little bit underwhelming, but Olbrich with 32 and Henschel with 27 was a great start there for those guys. Oliver was our starting centre with 31, and Zakarski with just a 5. So I know there was a bit of talk that he wouldn't score a lot of points early, but you know, he is still very young and improving, so it's probably a forgive there. We captained Cotton, and he obviously repaid the faith with the 42. I don't think there was too many scores higher than that this weekend, so I think that was a pretty fair call. Illy with a 31, so one we hadn't heard too much about until late in the piece, but you know, definitely made it worth our while. And then Hickey and Pepper both with an 11 on our bench, so at their price point, not the worst scores. So have a look at the head-to-head matchup. Oh, there was no matchups this week. What's happened there? Mustn't have been any set for round 1. That's how well I'm going. But I guess we can see some of the top scores. So it looks like Matt G with 258 was the top scorer this week. So I think if we go to the leagues, we can see where lands you overall. But we'll have a look at the team. So I also had White with a 19. Had Walton Jr. with a 39 as captain, so that's a good score. And Days with a 43, so slightly higher than Cotton there. But the rest we pretty much had the same. There's quite a few very similar as well. So 256, 254, 250. Probably don't have time to go through all of them. But I'm sure once we get to the head-to-heads, we'll definitely get to see a few more of those teams. So in terms of the league, I just wanted to have a look at the overall positions. Why doesn't it? It doesn't show the overall. That's weird. Normally it does. That's okay. Looks like it. Yeah, I guess because the league hasn't started, maybe. Technically. Must be set to start in round 3. Oh, that's stuff that. Let's go round 2. I'll just make that change now so we actually get going. So that's on me. It's probably because originally we had, I think, 16 teams. So I think it was worked out off that, but then we added in those few extra. So, all good. We'll go with that. So, and I didn't set any rivalries either. But that's okay. I guess what we can do is have a look at the actual matches. So Melbourne and Tasmania kicked off the round, close game. So Milton Doyle top scoring with 41 for Tasmania. So yeah, he's priced at about the 350 mark. So Delhi top scored for Melbourne with 34. Lowe's an interesting one at only 173k. Scored 25, so I think he's in the area to make a bit of cash this week. Illy we've talked about, and that nothing too much to write home about. Goulding was a bit disappointing, considering he was in early drafts of my team. We've dodged that bullet. Perth and southeast Melbourne. So Cotton, Walton we've already talked about, but Pinder also with 40 is quite good. He's fairly expensive though, so that's what you would expect. Doolittle, yeah, so he's one of those mid-priced options. So 32 is fair. Hunt, yeah, another, or Hurt, sorry, I can't read. 277. So a lot of mid-price options sort of playing pretty well. V's Camp, perhaps is how you'd say that. Also going good. But obviously Henschel, the cheapie, is the one that a lot of people are keen for. The Breakers and the Bullets. So Jackson Cartwright with a 49. I guess I would have probably considered starting him over Cotton if the Breakers didn't have that sort of bye schedule coming up. I think they play this weekend, but then they have the next 2 weekends off essentially. Um, so yeah, we won't see them in the team for a few weeks. But also Menenga was super cheap, getting 23, so at 150k could be some good value. For the Bullets, Cook was the standout. So I think he's another mid-price 277 option. So potential cheapie, but I don't think the Bullets have a lot of double game weeks to start. So it might be one to avoid. Cairns and Illawarra. So Days we saw top scored with 43. Olbrich was good. Groves top scored for Cairns, so I guess that's why we brought him in the team. But I did note that Cairns are expected to, well, not, I guess they were the rank outsiders for the title, so probably by default would make them favourites for the spoon. And then the last game, Adelaide Sydney. So Jalen Adams was the top scorer this week with 54. So I guess it's slightly cheaper price as well. Double game week. It would have been nice to start with him. Um, Xavier Cooks with 38 was good, and Tui was another one that was quite popular in the preseason. And at 191k, 34 to start is pretty decent. Cool. I know he's not as cheap as I thought he was, but yeah, probably not worth worrying about, even though they do have the double this week. And on the other side, looks like a very popular option will be Mayen from Adelaide, 133k, scored a 34 in round one. I think Adelaide only have the single game next week, so maybe just a watch and see for one more week. His price won't change. Harrell's mid-price option, Vasiljevic, pretty expensive, so don't think we need to stress too much. I think Davis is a mid-price as well. So definitely lots of mid-price options if you're that way inclined, but definitely the expensive options proven to be worth it in week one. So in terms of what we're looking at doing for game week two, we do have a few teams that have the double game week. So Melbourne being one, Southeast Melbourne as well, Illawarra and Sydney. So we're doing all right so far. We've already got White, Olbrich, Oliver, Illy, Hickey. So we've already got 5 double game week players, but we can probably bring in a couple more. And so, as I said, probably the obvious move, which if I'd looked a bit deeper into the schedule, probably should have done, but Cotton to Adams, which actually also frees up about 50k. And what we can do with that is we can actually free up the money with Zikarsky, or with the freed up money, sorry, is the trade Zikarsky. Let's push Groves into the bench. We'll bring in Alex Tui on his double. So, that price point looks pretty good. So, confirm that. Don't need to boost this week. Pretty comfortable with most of these rookies. If you have a look at the other popular trade-ins, Mayen is one we can have another look at. Days is on the double game week, so it could be worth a punt bringing him in somewhere. Could be for Groves perhaps. But I guess the reason why we're targeting the Sydney guys is they have the double this week, but they do also have the double in game week 3. Oh no, sorry, that's Melbourne. I thought it was Sydney. So don't mind that. But you can see also Adelaide and Perth. So holding on to those Perth assets. Obviously, Bryce Cotton we've traded out, but we could potentially just flip again next week. Could be a bit of a strategy for a few weeks until we build up some bank. But I guess with these double game weeks as well, the likes of the Cairns guys, the Melbourne guys, they'll start to move in price. So if you do have someone like a White that you're not keen on, you think he'll lose money in the long run, you could get rid of. But I think particularly with the Cairns matchup, I think he'll be okay going forward. So, sorry, that's round three. Round two, they've got Southeast Melbourne and Tasmania. So tougher matchups, but we'll back him in. We don't have enough money to sort of upgrade to one of those other 277k options like a Days. So we might just leave it at that. But yeah, these guys are all on the double this week, so yeah, I think we'll sort of stick with that structure. In terms of captain, vice captain, I think Jalen Adams is going to be the captain. So maybe Oliver as vice captain, um, and then we'll just run with that, and we'll see how we go. So yeah, so that's I guess the thoughts of going into game week 2. We fixed it up now, so there should actually be some matchups for this week coming up. Yep, there we go. So that'll be good to get into some actual league play as well. But I guess we can wrap the video up there. So as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below the video. Give us a thumbs up, a like if you enjoy the NBL content. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.